what's up everyone? My name is Brandon with BiggerPockets.com, and today we're going to talk about what it's like to scale to 100 units. And so we're talking about how, a lot of people know the idea of how to get to 1 unit, right? You can buy 1 property, or maybe 2 properties, or maybe 3 properties, but the idea of getting to 100 units is overwhelming. In fact, I used to watch this show way back in the day, Income Property, with Scott McGillivray or something like that. It's on HGTV. And they used to say in the introduction that he owned 100 units. And I was always like, whoa, that's a lot of units, right? I had at the time 20 or 15. I'm like, that's a lot. But I'm going to be sharing with you guys today a little bit of how I was able to actually get to that point. I'm at 95 units right now. I'm going to talk about how I did that using a framework, so to speak, called the stack. And so that's what we're doing today. So again, welcome, glad you guys are here. Do me a quick favor, if this is working, I want to do a quick tech check, make sure technology is working with us today. If you can hear and see me okay, will you guys give a thumbs up and then comment in the section that you can hear and see me? For example, somebody said they can't hear anything. Why would audio be bad? Let me check something. Cancel. Audio. Hold on, let's figure this out. Hold on, let me see this. Why would audio be funky? Do this. Check. Anything? Nothing? Let's try that. Any sound? Let me know if you can hear me or not yet. I can hear and see you. Oh, good. Somebody said I can see your ugly face. Audio is good. Okay, well, I don't know why some people don't have audio, but I'm going to keep going. So we're talking again how to scale to 100 units using something called the stack. So the reason I chose 100 units is because for a lot of people, myself included, I looked at 100 units, right? Oh, that is a marker that barely has anything left. All right, so I used this 100 unit thing as a way to consider financial freedom at 100 units. And here's what I mean by that. If you buy a good multifamily property, after paying out the mortgage and after paying all the utilities and the insurance and the taxes and all of those expenses that add up over time, right? I think personally, this is just my personal philosophy, if I can get $100 in profit in my pocket after the mortgage, after setting aside money for future things, after paying a property manager, if I can clear $100 per unit on a multifamily, that is a good deal to me. And so that's what I usually look for. So if I had 100 units, each making $100, right, in monthly profit, what is that, $10,000, right? $10,000 per month. That is really good money for most people. Now maybe you're somebody who's weird and you need $500,000 a month, but $10,000 a month is really good money. And so that's why 100 units is a really good number to aim for. Where's my, oh, there, okay. Good number to aim for. But again, a lot of people think this is out of reach. And so today we're talking about something I call the stack. Now the stack, write this down here. The stack. Again, it's a framework, a way of looking at real estate that makes it a whole lot easier to understand and comprehend. And so the stack, we're going to be talking about that today, but also this is kind of a preview of what I'll be teaching tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a live webinar for thousands of people over on BiggerPockets. It's going to be a huge deal. If you want to go to it, just go to BiggerPockets.com, www.BiggerPockets.com / guess what it is, / webinar. /webinar. I think you can also, in the comment section, let's test this. In the comment section, write the word register. Somebody do that and let me know if it works. If it works correctly, it's supposed to pop up like a Facebook chat thing that registers you. But let's just try that. So anyway, let's get into the stack. How does a stack work? So this is the idea behind the stack. And don't mind my horrible handwriting and small stuff. All right, here we go. So the stack looks like this. When you first get into real estate, most people start fairly small. Like a single family house, right? Don't make fun of my drawing. So a single family house, most people can understand that. Most people can get the concept. It makes a lot of sense, right? But who's getting rich off of one house, right? If you got one property, you might be making maybe $100, maybe $200 a month, right? It's not a whole ton of money. So a lot of people do it and then they got, it's hard work to buy it. It's a lot of work to buy it. And at the end of the day, they're making $100, maybe $200. Maybe if you buy a really good deal, I've had some single family houses that give me $500 a month. But let's be honest, that is not making you rich. Nobody's getting wealthy, nobody's getting financial freedom off of $100 a month, right? So how do people do it? Well, they got to buy more. And so then somebody goes out and maybe they buy 2 houses, right? A lot of people do that. The next year or a year later or whatever, they buy another couple houses. Maybe it's a duplex, right? Maybe we join them together and now it's a little duplex with cute little window boxes, all right? And so now they've got a duplex and they think they're doing pretty good, and now that's maybe another couple $100 a month, right? Maybe now they're getting $200 off that one and $100 off that one. Still, that was a lot of work for just a few $100 a month. Nobody's getting rich off that, right? At this point, a lot of people give up because they're like, man, for all that work, if I just keep buying a single family house here, a little small multifamily here, it's gonna take me forever to get to financial freedom. That's a lot of work. And they think in their heads that if this house right here was like, I don't know, we'll just call it like 100 points of pain, right? There's 100 pain points involved with buying that house, right? 100 pain points. That means this would be 200 pain points, which means if they had to keep doing that every year, that's thousands, like over time, thousands of pain points. Well, that sucks. Like, they think that the difficulty scales with real estate, but here's the secret, and here's the secret of the stack, is that over time, pain points drop. It gets easier as you get into real estate to be able to pull this off. And furthermore, most people, if you want to really get lots of units, you don't stick with a single family in the duplex or a bunch of single families, right? Over time, you scale up into larger and larger investments that produce more and more money with less and less work. So, let me walk you through this. All right, the stack looks like this. If in year 1 you bought 1 house, could you double the number of units every year? So year 1 we got 1, year 2 we have a duplex or 2 houses, right? Year 3, could we buy 4? Right? Maybe it's a 4-plex, maybe it's 4 single family houses, right? So let's say we had this number, the 100, the 200, and now we got 400 here. I mean, think about it. After all, in year 2, when you're about to buy that duplex, you've already bought 1, so like you already got experience. In year 3, you've already is that a word? You've already purchased those. So you might as well, it's not that hard to purchase a 4-plex or 4 houses at that point. Year 4, could you do it again? So here maybe we're gonna buy, an 8 unit, or maybe 2 4-plexes, or 8 single family houses if you're weird. And however you wanna do it, right? Now we're at 800. Still at this point, let's say you were making 8 plus 4 is 12, 13, 14. You're making $1,500 a month. It took you 4 years to get there, and you're like, this is gonna take 80 years in order to retire, right? That's where people, again, give up because they don't understand the power of exponential growth. Now, you could build your business linearly, right? Like adding a couple units every year, or you can build it exponentially, and that's what the stack is all about. It's always trying to buy bigger units or more units, or at least more profit as you go. So, year 5, if you did it again, and so instead of at 8 units, now we're at 16 units, right? Or, is that right? And then year 6, you bought 32, let's say, right? Now we're at like a big old, whatever. All right, so if you were at 100 here, then 200, then 400, 800, 1600, and now you're at 3200. So what is 3200 plus 1600 is, what's that, 48, plus 8 is 56, plus 4, 6,000, 62, 6,300, am I doing that math right? Now you're at $6,300 a month in passive income. And you've done that but now think of year 7, right? If you did 1 more year and you bought a 60-unit apartment complex, that pushes you up to 6,300 a month, put it up to what's that, 12,000 roughly? 12,300 per month. And you did it by the stack. And here's why this is so powerful, right? Is because each layer of the stack, you're not doing anything that you haven't really done before, right? In year 2, you've already bought 1, so it's just a little bit more work to buy 2. And in year 3, it's just a little bit more work to buy this, and then year 4, a little bit more work to buy this, and year 5, right? You're gaining experience as you go. And you're really, if you wanted to do it all in multifamily, you're just scaling a little bit each time, right? 1 purchase a year is all we're talking. Now, could you do this entire process in a year? Could you do this in January, and this in maybe March, and then July, and maybe August, November, December, and January you're done? I mean, you could. Could you start here? You could, but here's the reason I'm not a huge advocate of that. You could definitely start on step 7. We've interviewed people on the BiggerPockets podcast who have done that. But you make a lot of mistakes when you get started, which is why I love the concept of the stack, because you make the mistakes here and you learn. And then you branch out, you get a little bit more. It's like riding a bike, right? Every time, like your first time you fall, the next time you make it a little longer and you fall, but you last longer. The next time after that, you're riding farther, and pretty soon you're an expert, right? So you're building experience as you go. And it gets easier, your systems get better. You are refining your systems and your processes, you're building your team on the smaller ones that it's harder to screw up, right? So by the time you get here, you can do some pretty amazing things. And that's that's how I think of real estate, and that's how I did it, right? So my first property was a single family home. I didn't know I was doing the stack at the time, right? But I bought a single family home, then I bought a duplex. And then I ended up doing some flipping houses in there. That was probably mostly a waste of time, but I got some experience. Then I bought a triplex at one point, and then I bought a fourplex, and I bought a fiveplex. And then here's where I got stuck for a number of years, is I stopped growing. I stuck there for a few years, where I should have been branching bigger. But then at some point, I bought a 24 unit. That kind of put me at this level here, right? And then again, I stopped there for 4 years. I just stopped growing. Where I should have, or I could have, immediately started going more. In fact, when I look at some of the other people, 4 years ago, when I was just managing my properties, they started buying apartments and now we're making millions of dollars off apartments. I'm like, dang it, I should have been, a good example, Joe Fairless, who's been on the BiggerPockets podcast, he's been at this game about as long as I have, yet he owns, I think it's 2,500 units right now. And how did he do it? He started small, scaled up a little bigger, little bigger, little bigger. Andrew Cushman, another good example, the guy who did that, right? They own hundreds or even thousands of units, and they didn't do it just all at one time. They scaled up using the stack. And you can as well. It doesn't take that much effort, intelligence, time to be able to do it. It just takes kind of a plan, a way of thinking about it, a framework, and that's what the stack is. So can you scale to 100 units? I sure hope so, and I think you can. Now, do you have to? Of course not. This is just one plan. Maybe you're happy buying 10 houses, paying all 10 off, and there's your retirement. That's another plan, right? Maybe you just want to do commercial real estate and office buildings, or I'm not a big fan of that, but you can do whatever, right? This is just one way of looking at real estate that I find super valuable. So if you guys enjoy this, if you guys enjoyed today's kind of talk about how to scale to 100 units and why it's a whole lot easier than you might think, then give me a little thumbs up, give some hearts, give some love, and share this video over on your Facebook. And make sure you guys show up to tomorrow's webinar, biggerpockets.com/webinar. We'll be talking more about the stack as well as a whole lot more about getting involved with real estate investing. So go to biggerpockets.com/webinars or just click the word register and see if that works. So, and by the way, Mike, I'm gonna read off a couple things. Michaela said, I don't have a desire to get to 100 units. Great, you don't need to, right? But some people do. Some people want to get to 1,000 units. That's overwhelming. Well, not when you think of a stack, right? Go from here to maybe a 100 unit, to maybe a 300 unit, and then maybe a 500 unit. Boom, you're there, right? It's just one way of looking at real estate. Let me look at some more questions here. Ritesh said, you still need capital with private money. You're right. Another reason I love the stack is because up here, most people can do this deal without other people involvement. In other words, they can house hack it, or they can burr it, or they can save up for it, they can use a home equity line of credit for it, they can live in the house and then turn it into a rental, right? There's a lot of ways to do that. People can start here a lot easier. Then when you get here, most people can probably do the duplex or two houses without a whole lot more outside involvement as well. But what are you gaining as you work your way down the stack? What are you gaining? Experience. You're gaining that intellectual collateral that you can then, when you get to this level and this level and this level, you can start raising money, bringing in partners, doing syndication deals, right? But if you just try to jump in right here, trying to syndicate a deal, it's hard. You don't have the collateral. You don't have the friends, the network, right, to be able to support those things. You gotta build them over time, and that's okay, and that's how you kind of do that. So how do you finance them? Man, I wish somebody had written a book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. No, there's so many ways to finance deals, right? We go through all of them. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but there's a ton of ways to finance deals. There's a ton of ways to find partners, lenders, private money, hard money, burr investing. That's my favorite way. That's what I typically do, is called burr investing. Burr investing is where you buy fixer-upper rental properties. You fix them up and then you refinance to get the money back that you borrowed. It's a long story. If you want to know more about that, just go to biggerpockets.com/burr, B-R-R-R-R. All right, so I don't know. What else you guys want to talk about? Any other questions? Let me look down here. Let's see. Let's see. Glenn Fonner said, I remember when your beard starred in the movie Castaway. Yeah, he got paid really well for that in the movie Castaway. It's awesome. Let's see. Ron said, are you doing a Memorial Day special on memberships? Yes and no. So the webinar that we're having tomorrow, if you guys, as kind of a bribe to stay through the entire end, I may be offering a discount code on BiggerPockets Pro memberships. Maybe or maybe not. You gotta come and find out and stay to the end to find out. So let's see. Richard said, you find an investor for me and I'll give you 75 grand. Deal? No deal. You go find an investor. If you've got 75 grand, you can find somebody to work with. That's a good down payment on a good deal. And you could probably get to like this level with 75 grand, right? As a down payment. And then find a private lender, hard money lender, local portfolio lender, commercial bank, whatever, to be able to fund the rest. All right, other questions. Nick said, are there any markets you personally like for multifamily? You know, so I bought a 24 unit in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I bought a 46 unit mobile home park over in Bangor, Maine. I buy where I have people in place, right? So in those two areas, I had people that were there that could help, you know, show me the market and teach me things. So the best market is the market that you have a team, right? I actually learned a lot of that from this book. Let me grab that one. Long Distance Real Estate Investing by David Green. This book is awesome, all about like how to pick a market, how to be able to do it, how to build your core four. So that's all in this book as well. Very, very good book. But yeah, I went to where I had somewhat of a team established, and that was Cincinnati. Now, do I think that's the best market in the world? No, of course not. There's lots of markets, right? People are getting rich in every single real market in America right now. Like, there's just different strategies work different places. So it depends on what you want, right? Are you looking for value add? Are you looking for smaller, larger? Are you looking for to partner with somebody? Are you looking for a huge syndication? All those things come into play in picking a market. That said, I see a lot of people buying in the Southeast, so Tennessee, North and South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, that area. I see a lot of activity there. A lot of in the Midwest still, so Iowa, Illinois, Ohio. There's still deals to be found there. But I know people that are buying in California and Phoenix and Seattle, right? There's just different strategies for different areas. All right, let's see. Nate said, can you talk about how you sourced your property managers for your out-of-state acquisitions? How did you vet them? What sorts of recourse do you have if they don't perform? Yeah, good question. So both came from referrals. Both my out-of-state multifamily properties came from referrals. Recourse, if they don't do their job, I can fire them. Technically, I signed like a 6-month contract, but if for some reason they sucked, I'm sure they would get me out of it. That's kind of how I found them. That's how I deal with that problem. I watch them closely. I watch the numbers, make sure that the numbers look good. In fact, I just called my property manager this morning. We had a flood at my apartment and water got into one of the units, and that sucks. That's gonna cost me a few $1,000s to fix up. And so I called him to find out what he was doing on it. And he's waiting for a bid to come in from a contractor. So just kind of staying on top of them without being that involved. I maybe spend an hour a month dealing with each of those properties. One of them, the mobile home park, I have a couple partners that are involved in on it. It makes it a lot easier as well. Let's see. All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys enjoyed today's video, let me know. Just give me a little thumbs up. But I'm gonna go see my little kid, little Rosie Lou, and yeah. You guys say hi to Chris Wood here. This is Chris. He's my cameraman today, and this is my office. So anyway, all right. Thanks for joining me today. Again, I'll see you guys tomorrow on the webinar. BiggerPockets.com/webinars for BiggerPockets.com. My name is Brandon. Signing off.